Well, the sun finally came out, so it's getting a little warm. It says it's 57 outside. But I was packing orders and working in the garage today, and some guy wanted me to fix his X-Fire 8-inch subwoofer. I guess he has it in a regular cab truck, and it's 2 8s in a box. Some guy on 36th Street in McDowell made it for him. Overcharged him a lot, but that's what shops do. The guy ended up spending like $3,500, and each subwoofer that cost like $100 on Amazon, he paid like $350 per sub. And I told him, I said, just buy a new one. And he's like, well, these are 750 watts RMS. I'm like, there's no way that woofer is 750 watts RMS. And I said it's probably cheaper just to buy 2 new subs, on Amazon. Usually a woofer like that it's the same as the massive Sumo 8-inch, which usually go for $100-120. And I told him to do that, and he's like, no, I really want you to fix it. I heard your blah, 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 blah. And I guess he got a referral from somebody. And he brought it over, and I was like looking at it. I go, dude, you can't really just fix this with E6000. And I really didn't want to do it, so I was like, give me $40 and come over and I'll look at it. And he came over. When I saw it, I was like, this is not an E6000 fix. You need a new woofer, because it's not worth refoam and all that kind of stuff. And I said, what you really should do is, because the box was big enough, I said, you should really get some 10s in here. And he goes, I said the same thing to the installer, but I go, well, 2 things. One is, first, he sort of gang raped you with this X-Fire brand and overcharged you. I said, the other thing is that he probably gave you old stock, because that's why the surround ripped, because they were old, and he had a pair of 8s. He even wired them weird. Like he didn't have dual 4s, he had dual 2s, which he wired in series parallel for a 2-ohm load, which is fine. I basically did the same thing. But it just tells me that's all he had on the shelf. And so he's like, no, I want to do 10s. I was like, okay. And so we brought him back, and I had 2 of the Audio Legion Armada 10s. And I even told him, I said, just go online and buy these. I said, these are like $70 shipped. I said, just go buy a pair. I said, make sure you get the dual 4. And they were out of those, and I said, well, then just get the dual 2. And he's like, no, I really want to buy something from you. I was like, okay. So I ended up finding the second Armada. It was already installed in another box, and so I just pulled it out of that one. And I said, well, when I resell these, I put a new cap on them, and I said, I sell them for $125 each. Are you okay with that? And he's like, yeah, I'm okay with that. That's fine. He says, I don't have to wait. You can do it. And I said, all right, I'll modify your box for $50. Does that sound okay? And he's like, yeah. So immediately he's like, do you take Zelle? Do you take card? I'm like, nope. And so I usually don't think anything of that, because a lot of people use electronic payment now. And so I was like, who do you bank with? He's like, Chase. And so I said, well, Chase is right down the street. Go ahead and just go there and get the money. Come see me. It was like $300 done. And I was like, I don't like people that just come over. And that's why I lock the gates, so that people don't come over. They got to make an appointment, because otherwise I'm in the back busy helping all you guys, your orders, shipping and all that shit. And so anyways, he comes over and he has the money, and I modify the box, and the woofers are really close together, and whoever made the box didn't put a brace in between the subs, and I put a brace in there, and they also didn't put a terminal in there. And I said, let me put a terminal in there. I said, no charge. Let me just do that. And I gave him that best box terminal that I told you guys about with the fuse in it. And I put that in there nice and and then he gives me this excuse. He says, hey, I already reached my limit today at the ATM. I can only pull out, it was like $285. He's like, so I owe you $15. I was like, wow, you pay me the $15. And I said, tell you what, sign up on Cash App and you get $5 for free. So I sent him the thing, and then he's telling me that like his cell service sucks with AT&T, blah blah blah, and he's like, can I use your phone as a Wi-Fi? I'm like, yeah, I guess so. And I say, so then I hook up his phone to tether off of mine, and he never ends up paying me the $15, which I was like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, I'm sure the guy will pay. We hooked up the subs. They sound great. He's got an Epicenter in there. He didn't really need it, but I don't want to have that conversation with him, because He already has it. He already paid for, you know, he paid $3,500 to some dude to put all that shit in there. Immediately he turns it up a little too loud, and I go, well, that's a little too loud. That's distortion. Like, he should have only turned it up to like 20, 21, but he turns up to 35, and I'm just like, okay, like, you know, those are your ears, they're not mine. But it sounds really good. It sounds nice and growly, you know, much lower, much more powerful, because each one of those Armada subs are good for like 600 watts. So, and we did series parallel 2 ohm. It was the Xfire 3000D, not the new one. It was the old one that's 1500 watts, 1 ohm stable. So it should be a really nice match. And then like he takes off, and then 5 minutes later he's like, I need to bring these back for a refund. These don't sound good. I was like, that's insane. And so again, I have to interpret what these guys are really saying, which is my wife or my spouse or whoever just found out I spent $300 that I probably shouldn't have. That was fucking diaper money or for the kids or for rent or whatever it was for, and I need a refund to make this person happy. And instead of saying that, he says, they sound like shit. I was like, no, they don't. Like, so I said, well, maybe you're turning it up too loud. I did turn up the gain a bit because the guy had the gain turned way down. I was like, it should be up at about 3/4. And he listens to Banda, so I turned the crossover point all the way up to like 250. And what was it? Shit, let me run in here real quick. I gotta go grab the aluminum and take it home. All right, so that's in there. Hit my shin. A little bit of skin. Anyways, so let me buckle up. God damn it. All right, so he starts texting me, blah, blah, blah. I said, look, man, I said, it sounds like you just need an adjustment. You know, like maybe it's up too loud, you know, because I did have to, on the deck, I had to turn down the subwoofer level to like -20. And it's funny because, just because it was too strong. And some people have OCD about that. Like, they're like, I want the maximum everything, you know. And he also had another problem. His 4-channel had like an RCA issue where the front speakers weren't playing. And I'm like, well, that's not my problem. I said, you might want to go back to the installer who originally installed it and complain to him. Maybe he can help you fix it. So, but, so yeah, then he starts texting me, and then he's like, so there's no way I can get a refund. I was like, no, I already installed your subs. It's done. They're good. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't tell me that there's, you know, that you don't like the sound or whatever. And he's like, I knew I shouldn't have trusted you. I knew there was something. This is what gets me. He says, I knew there was something wrong when you didn't ask for the $15 back, or $15. And I was like, I didn't ask for the $15 because I trusted that you wouldn't burn me over $15. And how am I supposed to plan that you're going to ask for a refund? Like, I even gave him the link to the fucking Google review page. So I'm like, hey, you know, I'm going to send you a link. Could you leave me 5 stars? That sounds great. You know, thank you very much. He's very thankful. You know, all this. I have no idea how to predict this. So I think it was just a goof. And I just think he's, you know, again, he happens to be Mexican, not an English speaker, but he, I think it's just a lot of macho guys, just guys in general, feel weird being vulnerable like that, and you know, asking for help. So I had a good session today at my counselor. I went alone, just because a lot of stuff has been going on between me and Sherry, and I wanted to use it as a coaching session, and so I ran a lot of stuff across them, and I'm doing great. I'm doing fine, and it's just Sherry's got some issues, and I've been finding out more about her family that is just like, they're just downer people. And you know, I'm goddamn Pinocchio that's fucking annoying and cheerful and positive and optimistic, and I guess I shouldn't be. So, and I'm like, that's whatever, that's dumb. And so but anyways, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm gonna go home and do this project real quick because I gotta make adapters, and it's just a little shortcut that I learned by helping these guys out one day. Well, I went to go help them out, and they ended up putting me to work. And I just want to show you guys the prep work that you could do if you take these to again, I recommend you find like a small machine shop that you can work with, that basically, you know, it's a guy that's retired. That's who you really want to find, is an old guy that's retired, that has a lathe and maybe a mill, like a Bridgeport or something like that, in his garage, and he'll do trades. I found a couple of guys like that, and those guys are awesome, especially for what you're doing if you're tuned into this channel. But basically, just, you know, give them whatever they want, you know, just within reason, because a shop will charge like $75 an hour minimum, you know, and then they'll charge you like a minimum hour or whatever if it's a real shop. But you don't want a real shop. You can't afford a real shop. I can't afford a real shop. And so you want to find just one of these guys that's retired, or like I found these two guys. They were just the closest to me on Google, and they just happened to start their own business and move out from Minnesota and Wisconsin, and that's why they call the business Wisoda, Tool and Die. But yeah, so anyways, I'm gonna go home and do that prep work, and I love you guys. I will talk to you later. Bye.